Alright, what's happening, y'all, man? The official salary cap minimum has been announced. It will be $180 million per team after talks with the NFLPA. And of course, we have to talk about all of the repercussions and consequences that will come from this. Some teams will be very happy. Some teams are gonna struggle. It's just the way life is after the pandemic, COVID-19, coronavirus. It hit the league pretty hard, and these are the results. So I definitely want to break down this salary cap, the history of the salary cap, and how this 2021 season will compare to previous seasons. Which teams will be in the red, which teams should be able to eat up in free agency, and of course I got to discuss my burgundy and gold. So without further ado, let's get it. Alright, so last season's salary cap was $198.2 million per team. The NFL and the NFLPA agreed at the outset of training camps last summer that it would fall no lower than $175 million for this upcoming season. Now, they have officially determined today that it will be at least $180 million after talks with the NFLPA. And it may be a little bit more. We may be able to get up to $185 million. The final NFL salary cap is always negotiated between the NFL and NFLPA, and it's always like a whole bunch of calculations and revenue projections thrown in there, which is where they come up with these numbers. And the NFL working with the NFLPA to figure out the salary cap is not something new. What is new is managing the unpredicted consequences of this pandemic and the big drop that's going to happen going from 2020's $198.2 million to what is going to be 2021 and just in the future due to pandemic related revenue losses. And it's crazy too because the NFL salary cap through the years, 2015 $143.28 million, then 2016 went up $155.27 million, 2017 went up $167 million, 2018 went up $177.2 million, 2019 went up, of course, $188.2 million, and 2020, this past season, salary cap was $198.2 million. And it's always going up because the NFL just makes more and more money as time goes. But with the pandemic, this is going to be the first time in forever it's going down. And again, the minimum will be $180 million, but that doesn't mean it's going to become higher than $198.2 million just because they stated the minimum is $180. I'd be pretty surprised if they reach $190 million. But it's just crazy on how much the pandemic affected everything because they were projecting the 2022 salary cap to be $227 million. And it's looking like 2021 won't even reach something around $210 million, which without the pandemic, it probably would have been somewhere around $210 million. So now that it's going to be a minimum of $180 million, so we'll just assume it's going to be $180 million this year, that means 2022, which was supposed to be $227 million, may end up only being like $190 something million. And we may just finally get back to the 2020 salary cap that we just had last season. But officially knowing what at least the minimum will be now allows teams to start really making moves. Now we're going to start seeing things shaking up in free agency. And we're going to see teams really calling up players and their agents and starting to scope out deals and things like that. Of course, it's not the legal tampering period yet, but things are getting rolling now that they exactly know how much money they have to work with at the very least. Anything on top of that would just be a little bit extra. So all in all, this is actually one of the best seasons in recent memory to be a buyer in free agency, because there's going to be a lot of good to great players that are going to be hitting the open market just due to this crazy cap landscape that's going on right now. There will be a lot of cap casualties. Remember how Larry Warford last season for the Saints was a cap casualty, 3-time back-to-back-to-back recent Pro Bowler, literally as in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And just because the Saints couldn't afford him, even as good as he was, they had to cut him. We're about to see even more situations like that. This is going to be the craziest a free agency has been as far as cap casualty goes in NFL history. There's going to be a lot of Larry Warfords out there. And I mean, I feel sorry for the Eagles and Saints because they're going to have to cut their rosters all the way up. I mean, it's going to get real tragic. The Eagles have to find a way to move Carson Wentz. And the Saints are so deep, I don't know what they're going to do. Because even at a projected $185 million salary cap, 11 teams are still in the red before the 2021 league year begins. So, I mean, they're just going to have to cut players just because they can't afford them, not because they don't want them. It's crazy. In order, with descending meaning even less cap space as we go down, even more in the negative, you have the Lions, the Bears, the Vikings, Raiders, the Packers, the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Falcons, Rams, Eagles, and the worst are the Saints. I don't know how they're going to get out of this debt. It's going to be crazy to see what players these teams will have to cut. It can get ugly. And as far as just the NFC East goes alone, with the salary cap being a minimum of $180 million, down from the $200 million from the previous season, my burgundy and gold have $38 million in cap space, fifth most in the NFL, and that's with Alex Smith still in the books, which I highly doubt he will be once we officially get to this new league year. I'm assuming that extra $15 million we get from cutting them will be added to that, and we'll have somewhere around $53 million worth of cap space to spend. Because Alex Smith is technically a $25 million cap hit, but releasing him, you'll still have to eat up $10 million worth of dead cap, so you would save $15 million in total. The Cowboys have $19 million in cap space. The Giants have under $1 million. And the Eagles cap is ridiculous. I mean, they're about $47 million over the new cap space, and that's still not even as bad as what the Saints are going through. They're going to be at least $70 million over. So we have to start looking at these teams and seeing what players they may end up losing due to cap casualties and who we can possibly go and pick up as the burgundy and gold. Because like just the Saints alone, Quan Alexander, cutting him would save them $13 million with no dead cap money, and that would give us a big upgrade at linebacker that is much needed for this defense to become elite. Even same thing with Jalen Smith out there on the Cowboys. He may end up getting cut as a cap casualty. All of our needs, maybe except for quarterback, you have wide receiver, linebacker, corner, safety, offensive lineman, tight end. There's going to be some really good talent available this year that normally wouldn't be if it weren't for the pandemic. And I'm predicting there's going to be a lot of one-year prove-it deals, just off of the fact that players are going to wait for a higher salary cap to try to sign their long-term deals. For now, they'll just take a cheaper one-year deal to join probably good teams. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If a team with a lot of cap space right now could probably gather a lot of great players for cheap, it may only be for 1 to 2 years, but you never know. This may be the closest chance the NFL has to creating super teams, because the teams that are in the negative of cap space are just gonna have to get rid of good players, just simply because. And teams with a lot of cap space will be able to pick up these players for way cheaper than they would normally go for in a regular NFL market and cap space environment. So teams like the burgundy and gold will have $53 million in cap space, which will give us top 4 cap space. And that means, just like Quan Alexander, he would probably be forced to take less money than he would normally take, and would probably just sign a 1-year prove-it deal until the salary cap increases again. And that can be somebody that we can snag up for at least a 1-year rental. And I think all of the teams with a lot of cap space are going to be doing very similar things. Like the Jaguars, who are going to have the most cap space, the Colts, who have the second most, the Jets, who have the third most, the Patriots, who have the 4th most as of right now. This is going to get crazy. A lot of great players are going to end up going to the only teams that have enough money to pay them. Even though it's not a lot of money and not the money they would normally seek, it's at least some money. Because again, a lot of these teams that they're currently on literally can't even afford to pay them. It's either a little bit of money or no money. So a lot of these guys are going to have to sign really cheap contracts. And again, super teams might start forming. Hopefully my burgundy and gold become a cap casualty haven where everybody can just meet up and become a part of a great defense. We start to figure out the quarterback position. After that, hey man, Super Bowl contenders. But this is exactly why Giannis went ahead and signed that huge long-term deal with the Bucks a couple of months ago. Because the salary cap is only going to go down from what it previously was, and then it'll slowly increase back to normal, and then we, years down the line, will get to our highest salary caps that we've ever had. But that's going to take a while. So he wanted to go ahead and get 2020 salary cap money so that he's not affected by the pandemic and what 2021 and beyond salary caps will look like. So even though it's basketball, it's still very related, and that is the main reason Giannis was like, let me just go ahead and get my deal done, because I don't want to be one of these guys that's struggling to get big time money long term because of the pandemic. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video, man. Free agency, man. I'm telling you, with the trades, signing free agents, guys becoming cap casualties, getting cut not because of their talent, and not even because their talent isn't worth the money they're making, some teams just literally can't afford these players. They're literally in the red.
The money, y'all. There's poor people, right?
Their teams are like illegal right now. So this is going to be the wildest offseason I believe we've ever seen in the NFL as far as players moving from team to team, especially big name players. And I'm pretty sure this is going to affect the franchise tag because I believe franchise tag money is based on a percentage of the salary cap. So even franchise tag money is going to be a little bit less than what it used to be. Like last year with Brandon Sheriff and things like that. Or even guys like Justin Simmons and Anthony Harris who were franchise tagged last year who may get franchise tagged again this year, but for even less money than they made last year. It's crazy. But yeah, man, definitely like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe if you haven't. Plenty of content still coming. Not just burgundy and gold, but overall NFL, very important NFL topics that develop over this offseason. So definitely stay tuned for all of that. And as always, man, I really appreciate all of my supporters. Shouts out to everybody that pulls up to every live stream, pulls up to every video. Shouts out to everybody that donates. Shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now. Man, I really appreciate y'all. Definitely get in the comment section and let me know how your team will be affected by this. Do you think it will positively affect your team or negatively? If you're one of those positive teams, like the burgundy and gold, let me know how excited you are about this free agency, because it's about to get crazy and I think we will come out winners. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.
Y'all take it easy. I'm out.